Hello, Big Team. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth. And in this video, I'd like to share with you a brand new challenge that I am issuing to all of you for the month of August. And I'm calling it Oldest August. And what I want to challenge you to do is go through your shelves, your lists, your apps, whatever you have book lists on, and find the oldest book on each of those lists and try and read that book in the month of August. I want to challenge you to do at least 4 books. You could pick one from 4 different lists, or you could read the oldest 4 on any one list, whatever you want to do. I have a few ideas for what I would like to do, and I'll just mention some of the lists because you're probably thinking, I don't have a bunch of lists, but you probably have more than you realize if you just think about it. Now, the most obvious one is your shelves. Find, the oldest or one of the oldest books on your shelves. This is actually one that I've kind of been doing already by reading Star Wars books, because I realized that I had owned 6 Star Wars books for about 40 years. So I started reading them in May, and I'm now reading the 5th one of those, and I've got one more that I can read in August, and then I'll start reading some other books that I have acquired more recently. So I will be reading Return of the Jedi in August. Then I'll continue working my way through the Star Wars books that were published in the 80s. So then I also have an old book that was from my childhood that I pulled off from my daughter's shelf, Emily, and I'm going to read this to her because I don't think I ever have. This poor thing is banged up. The Cheery Scarecrow. It's by Johnny Gruelle, and I'll show you the inside of it later, but I colored in it. Oh my goodness, it's terrible, but it's still readable, so we're going to read that at some point in August. So just some other ideas then. You could pick your oldest book on your Goodreads want to read list. Now mine's a little complicated because about 7 of my oldest books, the 7 oldest books on my Goodreads, are Little House books, and it's a random selection of the Martha, Charlotte, Caroline, and Rose years. And I'm not ready to read those yet. So I scroll down past those. The next one is The Borrowers by Mary Norton. I do want to read that, but I can't find it on audio. Nor can I find James and the Giant Peach on audio, which is the next one. And I know my limitations. I know that I can't add a bunch of print books to my TBR. So I want to at least eliminate something off like the first 10. And the next 2, thankfully, I can find on audio. The next one is The Rising by Tim LaHaye, and it is the first book in the prequel series to the Left Behind series. And I've read all the Left Behind series, so I am ready now to read The Rising. And then the next one after that is by Corrie ten Boom, and I do want to read all of her books. I've only read, I think, 2. I don't even know if I've read The Hiding Place. I've seen that movie, but I don't think I've read the book. But anyway, the one that's on the list next is called Tramp for the Lord, and so I can get that, I think, through Audible Plus, and I will definitely plan on listening to that one. So then I want you to take a look at your apps that you have and see, because most of these things have a wish list feature or a favorites feature, and I bet you've been adding things to that list, and some of those things are getting pushed to the back that you haven't thought about in a while. So the one I use the most is Hoopla. I'm pretty sure that as you put new books on your favorites list on Hoopla, that it keeps them in that order. I know they're not alphabetized. So just click on your favorites on Hoopla, and then, of course, you can choose different categories. I just right now looked at audio. I clicked on audio and I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and the very bottom one is an organizing book by Peter Walsh that I've already read, so yay. But the next 2 up from that are also organizing books, and I have not read them, so I will be getting to those, and when I do my August TBR, I'll include those in that. Then my library has Libby. Libby is one of the things that inspired me to do this challenge, in addition to reading my Star Wars books that I started on in May. From my Libby list, I listened to an entire 4-book series in the month of June. It was the Circle series by Ted Dekker. And there's only one book on my Libby list that has been on there longer than that, and that is Hidden Figures. It's by Margaret Lee Shetterly, I believe. And I think I got a little nervous about reading it when I heard that it was nonfiction. I was excited about it, and then I heard it was nonfiction, and then I was worried that it was going to be dry. I don't know why. That was dumb for me to worry that, because I've heard really good things about it, and I'm really interested in it. So, why not read it? And related to that, I've got a book that I will read with Emily. It's the children's version of Hidden Figures. This came in a bag of books that some friends gave her. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I need to read the full version as well. So I will read both of those, this one with Emily, and I will read or listen to the full version of Hidden Figures in August. So that will have eliminated the oldest 5 books off of my Libby list, which is great. And I think I only have about 30 books altogether. Oh, I have 23 books on my Libby list, and I don't remember if that's before or after I took off the Circle series, but somewhere around 20. And a lot of the books that are on my Libby list are middle grade books, so they really wouldn't take very long to listen to. I just need to remember to go and check them out. Then a couple of paid apps that I have. One is Audible. In my Audible library, I've got about 70-ish titles. I think 74 titles, but some of those are podcasts and stuff, so they don't really count. But of the things that I have not listened to, there are 31 titles. Now, 5 of those are those little short audio programs that don't really count as books. They're just little extras that Audible provides to members free. I'll still listen to those. I have more than that. There's only like 5 that I haven't listened to. But the first, or the oldest book that's in my Audible library that I have not listened to, is Treasure Island. That may be an Audible Plus book. I don't even know if I own that. Or maybe it was one of the books you could get free when you're an Audible member. I'm not sure, because I don't think I would have chosen it and paid for it, because I'm not really that interested in it. I'm not a big fan of pirates, but it's a classic, and I feel like I should read it, and I just haven't, and so I'm going to just make myself at least start it and see what I think about it. Then the other paid app I have is Everand, which used to be Scribd, and I have 80 titles in my Everand wish list, and the oldest 2 are organizing books. See a theme here? One of those I had already finished, so the other one that's at the very bottom of the list is by Dana K. White. I have listened to other books by her, and I thought I had listened to this one, but I checked my Goodreads and I hadn't. So maybe I started it and didn't finish it. I don't know. I'll revisit that one. But then the next one up from that, the next novel, or the oldest novel on my Everand list, is Native Tongue by Carl Hyacin. This is book 2 in the Skink series. Now, I've listened to some of the Skink series, but it was before Goodreads, and I didn't know it was a series, and my husband and I were just listening to a bunch of Carl Hyacin books, and I noticed that Skink was a recurring character, but I just didn't realize that it was a series with a beginning and an end. So I have listened to the first one. I don't think it was one that I had listened to before. This one may be one I've listened to before. I won't know until I start it, and I'll listen to the whole thing. So I want to challenge you, though, to read books, pick books that you haven't read before. If you've got some on your list that you're just keeping, to reread, try to, get to something new that you haven't read. And if it turns out that I have read, if I remember the organizing book and I remember this one, then if Scribd will let me, or Everand will let me, I'll do a third one, because sometimes they cut you off after 2 or 3. So we shall see. Now, one list that I have that some of you may have and some of you may not is a library list. If you don't have a library list, look on your library's website and see if your library has a feature where you can create a list or a wish list. Ours does, and I have not visited that list in I don't know when. It's been years. So everything on that list is old. And I don't know if I can't remember now if it's in alphabetical order or if it's perhaps it's just in the order that I added them. So I can't even remember now what's on there, but I checked it today. and I had 116 things on the list. And then I whittled it down to 86 because there were several books that I just had to delete because they're not in the library catalog anymore. And I was happy that I found a couple of books that I had read, like Pillars of the Earth. I have a lot of Debbie Maycomber CDs on that list, and I didn't go back and cross-check, but I think I'll be able to take off a few more that I've listened to as well. But anyway, I will pick something off of my library list and read it as well. If you have a neglected library list like I do, check it and see if there's anything on there that you can either take off or that you want to read, and whittle that list down as well. Anyway, I just thought this would be a fun challenge, a fun way of just kind of going back through and even checking to see if we still want to read or listen to some of these things. And that brings me to one other challenge that I want to throw out there. If you have a YouTube watch later list that is overfull, check out what your oldest one, your oldest saved video is, and watch that. I maxed mine out several years ago, so everything on my watch later list is old. I think I do have a few things on there that are about 3 years old, but the majority of the videos on my watch later list are 7 to 9 years old. So yeah, I can't even use it anymore because I maxed it out. Did you know you could max out your watch later list? You can. 3,500. That was the max back then. I don't know if it still is or not, but 3,500 videos is all I was allowed to put on my watch later list. It has 3,490 right now because I have deleted a few. I've watched a couple, but I went back to some of my oldest, and I just watched today. My friend Beth from Soul Stained Ink. I watched one of her videos from 9 years ago and commented to it. So hopefully she has seen that. But anyway, it'll just be a fun project to do. And I hope that you will join me and look and see what your oldest books are and work to get some of them read. So I want to challenge you. I don't know if I said this earlier. I want to challenge you to read at least 4 books. Whether you read 4 books from one list or 1 book from 4 lists, or, 1 from your shelf, 3 from lists, whatever. 4 books that are from the oldest things on your lists or your physical TBR or whatever. So that's the challenge. Let me know if you accept the challenge and what you plan to read. And that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.